As a rock and metal mixer, I've naturally mixed a lot of guitar tracks, like probably thousands. And whether it's distorted rhythm guitars, leads, clean guitars, acoustics, I'm basically having to address the same 5 problems every time. First, I got to clean up the low-end mud, whether it's just rumble and build-up or kind of boominess resulting from chugs on heavy guitars, or even from, maybe not the best miking strategy on acoustic guitars. Number 2, cleaning up the high end, especially the fizz and harsh frequencies that happen on distorted guitars. Third, I've got to control the dynamics, so just overall compression, whether I'm wanting the transients to poke out a little more, or if I want them smoother, or if I just need more consistency with the level of the guitars through the mix. Fourth, shape the tone. This is the artistic EQ part, helping the guitar just occupy the right area and cut through the mix. And then finally, fifth, making them sound larger than life, pumping them up a bit so they're nice and big in a mix. And for the past 15 years, I've been using the same 5 or 6 plugins to address all of these problems one at a time. But now I can deal with all of these problems in one single plugin, and that one plugin is simpler than any of the 5 or 6 that I used to use separately. And it's called Telos-Guitars. It is out now. You can go to blacksaltaudio.com to check it out and learn more about it. Now, if you're an Artist Pass member already with PSA, then this plugin has already been added to your account, so just go log in and download it. So I want to show you in this video just how good it feels to mix guitars with this new plugin. And I designed this thing so that I could use it in any scenario. I didn't want a different plugin for heavy guitars and clean guitars and acoustics. I want one plugin that's going to work on all of those. So let's start with a heavy example first. This is a song by the band called Auras. Here's how it sounds. All right, so let's zero in on these main left-right rhythm guitars here. This is my original mix. And you can see I've got a chain of 5 different plugins here, and this is straight out of my old mixing template, very common approach. What I've done is I've just duplicated these same guitar tracks, the left and right rhythms, onto these tracks over here, and I've inserted Telos-Guitars, and I'm just gonna mix these guitars the same way I normally would and show you how much simpler, faster, and more enjoyable this process is. So here's the raw guitars. So let's clean up the top and bottom first with just the filters. So there's our low end cut, and I just want to dial this in so that I'm not losing the body of the guitars, but we're just getting rid of some of that rumble that's just unnecessary. And then let's look at the high-end filter. All right, cool. Now let's clean up that top end a little more with this knob here. It's the de-harsh knob, and I love how simple this is. Check this out. Let me go to more of a chordy part here. So already in a few seconds with only 3 knobs, the guitar sounds so much more focused, so much cleaner. Next thing I would do is to look at if I need to control any more of the low end buildup from chugs. And I think we could do a little bit on this song, especially in this part. You can hear there's a lot of palm mutes. So that's the chug control knob, which will compress just that area where you get that low end buildup. This works really great on acoustics too. If you have really boomy acoustic tracks where the low end is just kind of jumping out on certain chords, this will do the exact same thing, but it's great for chugs here. It's like basically the old Andy Sneap trick if you've ever heard of that. I don't want to go that far. I just want to dial this in to where when the chugs are played, we're getting a little bit of control there, but otherwise it's leaving the tone intact. Okay, that sounds good. Now let's dial in the EQ in terms of brightness and mid-range, and those are going to be these 3 knobs here. I don't think we need to do anything with the low end in these guitars specifically. But you do have a low-end EQ here, either peak or shelf, and you can choose where exactly you want that to be boosting or cutting. And then you have the mid-range here, where again, you can use this slider to move around exactly what kind of or what area of the mid-range you want to boost or cut. Let's work on that first, and we'll go back to the entire mix. Let me go to the intro. Okay, I like just right in the middle there. That sounds great to me. Now let's try and add a little more top end. So on the high knob here, again, you can boost or cut, and there's two options, presence or top, and I'll show you what they sound like. Let me solo these out for you. So presence is going to give you similar to like a 5K shelf on an SSL EQ, and top is going to give you more like an 8K boost, which I tend to like in a lot of scenarios where the guitars, it's pretty much bright enough, but we can give it a little more lift and air. And by the way, when you're using this plugin, play around with the combination of the high-end boost here and the high-end cut. Sometimes once you boost a lot of that high-end, you get a little more of that top-end fizz, of course, and you might want to increase your high cut. And the combination and how these things play together is important. Let's check that in the mix. Okay, awesome. Now let me solo this for you again, and let's check out the compressor. So the sweet spot here, I've designed this to sound similar to an LA3A, which you can see I was using on the guitars originally over here. Just helps kind of squish them in a really nice way. Obviously controls the dynamics, especially if you have, really spiky acoustics or cleans, which I'll show you in the next song. This will control those really well. But this also give a nice little front end attack too on any cuts and starts and stops, which gives a little more energy on the guitars. And the sweet spot, again, is around, minus 6 dB, minus 5 of gain reduction here. And finally, we've got a saturation knob here. And there's 3 saturation modes that you can choose from. I'll let you hear all of them. So smooth mode is just an all-around nice, gentle saturation that's kind of addressing the full frequency range. Sounds great on really any source that you're using it on. Inflate is more of a fatter saturation sound, filling out more of the low mids and lows. And then focus is for when your guitar is just, it's not cutting through the mix and you need more of that mid-range and upper mid-range energy to help something stand out. And under the hood, this is essentially a multi-band saturation that's dialed in with different types of saturation algorithms and also affecting different frequency ranges depending on the mode you use. So let's try smooth. Let's hear it in context. Okay, cool. So we've done that entire guitar mix in one single plugin. By the way, there are 2 more controls I'll walk through. There's a limiter here. I typically don't use this on rhythm guitars. This is more for cleans or acoustics where you have more of that transient spike happening and you just want to control those a bit. Or even a lead guitar if you want just a couple dB extra push to help it really sit on top of everything. But I'll show you it anyways. And then, of course, we've got the oversampling control here, if that's something you care about. To be honest, I don't really believe that anyone can hear the difference of oversampling, and we pretty much just have to build this into our plugins so that other YouTubers don't go and just bash the entire thing because it doesn't have oversampling. So that's pretty much the only reason I put that in there. Just being honest with you guys, I think it's kind of ridiculous. Anyways, off of that tangent, let's A/B the original guitar mix with 5 plugins to the new one with 1 plugin that I just walked through. So here's the original mix of the guitars. Here's the new one. And let's hear it in context of the mix. We'll start with the original guitars. New guitars. Let me jump to a heavy breakdown here. All right, there you go. So sounds awesome on heavy down-tuned guitars. Now I'm going to switch sessions and show you something really different, a more lighter, straight-up pop rock song with a few different types of guitars. Okay, so totally different vibe, a couple different guitars here. We've got acoustics, we've got crunchy rhythms, and we've got a crunchy lead here. So let's start with the acoustics. I've got Telos-Guitars inserted here, and let me just show you how I would use this plugin on acoustics. So we'll just dial in a nice simple low cut there. Now let's add some top end, some brightness. And let's compress before we do any other tone shaping here. You can see how the compressor's really jumping a lot on those heavier strums because we're getting more of that low end buildup. So let's add some chug control first. Oh, I love how that compressor sounds on acoustics here. Pretty big difference there. Let's roll with that for now. Let's check out these rhythm guitars. So we'll cut that rumble. Definitely need a little more body and intensity from these, so let's check out the inflate mode again. Now I'm leaving some space in the mid-range. We could crank up more of that presence and more of that mid-range to get these to be more in front and intense, but there's still this lead guitar that needs some space. Let's A/B just these 3 sets of guitars here. So that's just one plugin doing all of that. And I love how simple it is, how nice it feels to not have to jump back and forth and adjust the EQ and then adjust the compression and go back to the EQ and have all these different plugins happening. It's all just in one clean interface. And I also love how, I don't know if you noticed this, but we made a very clear and bold decision not to put any decibels or frequency numbers in this interface. We did the same thing with Telos drums because I want you to actually listen to what you're doing, okay? I don't want you to be caring about whether this 43% boost in the high end, listen, you don't know if that's doing 2 dB or 8. And I think that's the way it should be. And this tone knob, listen, you don't have to think about whether you're boosting 1200 or 2.5K or 780. You know, honestly, it doesn't matter. Like, just listen, boost the knob, move the slider, and land where it feels right, where it sounds right to you. I think we've lost so much of that ability these days as mixers with all the visual distractions and plugins. It stops you from actually listening and using your ears, and that's how we've designed this entire Telos series. So the drum plugin and now the guitar plugin, and there's more to come, which I'll tell you about in a minute.
I'll let you down. It's the last I'll ever dream of you tonight. I'll be in your bedroom without you by my side, and I'm here forever with your face on.
That mix that you're hearing is almost entirely Black Salt Audio plugins. It's got Telos drums on all of the drum tracks, Telos-Guitars, and actually I didn't show you this, and I'm not going to in this video, but the bass and the vocals are also using our current prototypes that we're still developing for Telos bass and Telos vocals. So we're very close to being able to mix an entire song like this. And guys, I'm already using those prototype plugins and the drum and guitar versions that are already out now. And every time I'm going back and revisiting my old mixes with, 3, 4, 6 plugins in the chain, I'm replacing it with one, and I'm beating the old mix. So very excited to get those other plugins into your hands. Telos Guitar is out today, so go check it out, blacksaltaudio.com. Now it's included in our Artist Pass subscription, which gives you access to all of the Black Salt Audio plugins. This is the 11th one, so every time we add a new plugin, it just gets added into your pass for the same monthly or yearly price. And not only that, but we recently added in all of my premium training that used to cost thousands and thousands of dollars to access all of my tracking, mixing, and editing courses. Those are all now included in the BSA Artist Pass along with the plugin. So this is a ridiculously great value offer, I believe. It's $12 a month if you want to go monthly, or it's $100 a year, or you can go ahead and just buy this plugin and any of our other plugins outright if you'd rather just do it that way, which is totally fine. So go check out this plugin today. You can hear more A/B examples on the website. You can download a trial if you want. I strongly encourage you to join the Artist Pass and join us in the training, in the community. We're doing lots of cool stuff over there as well. And if you're already a member who's been using this plugin because we gave you early access, then drop a comment below. I'd love to hear how it's working for you. And if you want to see more about the Telos drums plugin, then check out this video next to see how I took an old drum mix where I had 13 different plugins and I think over 50 total inserts and got it down to only 3 plugins and beat the drum sound. So check out that video next.